This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, check us out. Don't forget about the Instagram at That Guy Jig, Jigsaw Jimmy 17 on the YouTube. Week 10. Week 10 has came. Week 10 has conquered. Week 10 has moved on. And as Week 10 has moved on, so have we. But we must reflect and we must get better. Because this is the serious time of fantasy football. We only have a couple weeks left. This is the push. This is the final countdown. If you're 4-7, you're doing algorithms. You're doing Chinese arithmetic. You're trying to figure out how many wins, how much you must win by, and who needs to lose for you to make the playoffs. And then you came to the right place. You've came to the right place for the information for fantasy football. You've came to the right place for the information in the NFL. This is the right place. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But week 10 was a hell of a week. A lot of things happened that weren't supposed to happen. The Patriots beat the Bears. I did say that was going to happen. The Chiefs and the Broncos had a barn burner. But there's some things out there that are formulating. If you had Jared Goff or CJ Stroud, I'm sorry. They fucked you. They didn't put any lipstick on you, and they didn't buy you any dinner. They just went out there and they just threw interceptions. Back to back. Back to back. Back to back. So now we must move on. CJ Stroud has got to get better. This has been a sophomore slump. We know about the sophomore slump in the NFL. This is no surprise. This is nothing new. The sophomore slump has been here, and the sophomore slump will stay around because the NFL is the best of the best. You have to get extremely better between your rookie year and your sophomore year. You have to be in the laboratory in the offseason. You have to be in the cryogenic chamber, or whatever the hell it's called, getting the ice bath. You have to take care of it, and you have to get better. And so far, he's been kind of even par, kind of worse than last year. Lamar Jackson has been nothing less than spectacular. MVP. Lamar Jackson, MVP. I don't think it's a close race. I think if the playoffs started right now, if the Chiefs hadn't won 2 straight Super Bowls, we'd be looking at the Ravens to be the true favorite out of the AFC. This team is good. This team is deep. They have players at every position. I think this is going to be a good team. I think this is going to be a good team come playoffs. I think Lamar Jackson is saving his best performances for the playoffs. I think overall, this Ravens team is going to be a good team. I think the Bills are going to be a good team overall out of the AFC. I think that AFC North is probably the best division in football. You look at the Bengals, and the Bengals are a couple plays here, a couple plays there from being in that division of 7-3, 7-2. They haven't gotten blown out many times. They've just blown some leads. But here we are for Week 10. I think the biggest news for everybody here for fantasy football is the simple, obvious. Christian McCaffrey did return, and he returned with productivity. He didn't return with like a little easy little workload. He returned with productivity. I said last week the 49ers are trying to make a playoff push, so he will be heavily involved in this offense. He will be heavily involved because they are trying to make that playoff push. Week 11 is here. We started off tonight. Commanders and Eagles. Thursday night football has improved. If there's one thing to say about this NFL season is that Thursday night football has improved. Roger went in the lab. Roger did what he had to do to get the people in the seats for making us pay for a whole new subscription to watch the fucking games. At least we get a good game this week. Commanders and Eagles, division game, big game. Both of these teams have three wins in the division. Both of them are 7-3, 7-2. This is going to be a good game, high-scoring game. I don't believe in the defenses. I think the Eagles' defense is very much overrated. I think the Commanders' defense is the same. Marshawn Lattimore is not going to play tonight, so we can't look for any improvement. Look for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon to continue going crazy. I think it's crazy that we finally see how good Saquon really is now that he's with the Eagles. I mean, don't get me wrong. We saw how good he was at Penn State. We saw how good he was. There's flashes with the Giants. But this guy here is psycho. This is a psychopath we're watching run the football. And everybody seems quite fine with it, and I am too. So the Commanders, for the Eagles, the same usual suspect, Jalen Hurd, Dallas Goedert, Saquon. For the Commanders, you're looking at a deep squad here. You're looking at a guy like Austin Eckler who can go in there and get some paint touches. Brian Robinson, if he plays, you're looking at Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Zach Ertz. Those guys right there are going to be your go-to. Jeremy McNichols, if you're in a real deep league, especially if Brian Robinson is out, look for him to get some carries tonight. Packers and Bears. The Bears are terrible. And I'm guaranteeing you that coach gets fired. They've already fired the offensive coordinator. The coach is next. That's a dysfunctional franchise. They've making a turn for the worse. Since the Lovie Smith, since all that ended, since the John Fox era has ended, they have been nothing less than a terrible franchise in Chicago. They do have a good home record, so this game could be a little closer because they are at home. But overall, the way Caleb Williams is playing in that offense, forget about it. Jaguars and Lions, you like everybody about the Lions. Look for Jared Goff to have a really big bounce-back game. He's great at home. He's great in the dome. So look for Jared Goff to have a great bounce-back game. Lions defense is kind of middle of the pack. So there are some value for the Jaguars players depending on if Mac Jones can get the ball out. It's all depending on him. So we use the Jaguars players with cautions. Vikings and Titans, same thing because Sam Darnold might not play. Hand injury. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to give it a go. Justin Jefferson hasn't been in the paint in a minute, so look for him to get into the paint. Aaron Jones. The Vikings need a good bounce-back game. No better game than go against the Titans. Titans are terrible. They kind of had their Super Bowl as far as scoring last week. Play the Vikings defense if you can this week. They're going to be tapered down. I like it. Raiders and the Dolphins. This is just one of those games where you pick the Dolphins players and you hope for the best. You hope Jaden Waddle gets in. You hope Janu Smith. You hope Devin A. Chain. You hope that, that Josh McDaniels pulls what he did for the Denver Broncos and just decides to put up 60 fucking points. I mean, the season's been shit. You might as well flush it. But let's just start making it look good. This is a conference game, so this could help with their playoff push because in that division is still kind of open. Outside of the Bills, still kind of open. Rams, Patriots, the Rams are on a streak. They've been rolling. Look for them to keep rolling. Play the Rams defense in this game. Drake May's going to have a problem in this game. The Rams defense is a lot better, and with that offense being at full strength, it puts pressure on people's offenses to score. You have to score when you play the Rams. You cannot beat them with field goals because they have a gunslinger on that other side. Browns and Saints. This is Jameis is coming back home. Jameis is going back to New Orleans. He has LASIK. Look for Jameis to go crazy. Cedric Tillman, Nick Chubb, David Njoku, all the Browns wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, they're all in play this week. Look for him to go crazy. Jameis Winston will go nuclear on Sunday. I'm telling you this now. The Saints are not ready. They're a bad team. They don't have a head coach right now. They got an intern, so they're not really all there. They're not all there. They're not all bought in. And if you're listening, hit that subscribe button, please. I need it. We need it, and let's get it. So look for Jameis Winston to have a huge game against the Browns. A huge game. Jameis Winston to have a huge game against the Saints for the Browns. Excuse me. Colts, Jets. Colts have announced that Anthony Richardson is now the starting quarterback, so you know what that means for me. I am completely off of all the wide receivers for the Colts. Maybe Alec Pierce, he's the only one that seems to can get a pass from him. I don't like Anthony Richardson as a quarterback. I don't like him as a fantasy option. If you have him, drop him and go get Jameis Winston. Go get someone who's going to have more value. They're going to be a run-heavy team on Sunday. They're going against the Jets. This is not going to be an easy game for him to come back in. Both of these teams aren't really playing for much, but the Jets are playing for pride. The Jets are playing for this trade's going to work. The Jets are playing for Aaron Rodgers' experiment is going to work. So they should win this game. They should win this game very handily. Be very cautious with the Colts offensive players because of who their quarterback is. When we're talking about fantasy football, when we're talking about production, when we're talking about players that we're looking for two things. We're looking for targets, and if we can't get targets, we're looking for who has the best quarterback. All right? We need people who have good quarterbacks to get them the ball. We don't need fucking Anthony Richardson out here who gets tired in one play and then might throw a pick. No, we need guys who are consistent. I would rather have a number one, all right, from the Denver Broncos than from the Colts. Just because of the simple aspect, I trust Bo Nix more on that offense to put up points consistently than I do Anthony Richardson right now. Moving on from that, Ravens and Steelers game of the week times 2. This is going to be a good game. I told you people at the beginning of the season, the Steelers are going to go on a revenge tour. They're going to go on a revenge tour. They're pissed off. They got a bunch of pissed off players who've been shit on in the NFL. Look out if you are Baltimore. This is a road game. Steelers defense is elite. Ravens defense is not. Russell Wilson's playing better. If the Steelers can put up a couple points and steal a possession, they'll win this game. The Steelers can do what the Bengals cannot, and that is close the second half. Because they don't rely so much on the pass. They have a run game that they will run. Arthur Smith will run the ball and get up out of there. Look for the Steelers to pull off an upset on Sunday. Falcons and Broncos. Give me the Falcons. Kirk Cousins should go nuclear. If not, look for Bijan Robinson to have another good game, type of game. Seahawks 49ers. This is a huge game. Huge game. Has the potential to actually be game of the week because of how big of implications this has. The Seahawks have to win. 49ers have to win. Everybody's in play. If they're playing, you're playing them. Geno, Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuels, Juwan Jennings, Brock Purdy. You're playing all of the weapons. Every weapon's going to be all hands on deck for this game on Sunday afternoon. Seahawks and 49ers. I like the 49ers. I like the Christian McCaffrey train. I think he's back. I think he's healthy. This is scary for the league. Chiefs and the Bills. Can the Chiefs stay undefeated? Bills, 2-point favorites. You know how Patrick Mahomes is when he's the underdog. He gets pissed off for some reason. Chiefs and Bills, everyone's in play for the Bills. Everyone's in play. Khalil Shakir, I like him for sure this game. I think he has a big game in the slot. I think Josh Allen has a very good dual threat game. Pat Mahomes and this offense might go crazy. They might go crazy. They are due for one of those games where they just put up 40 points. This could be a high-scoring game. This could be one of the more high-scoring games of the weekend. Bills and Chiefs, I'm going to go with the books, and I'm going to go with the Bills. The Bills at home, they got a little animosity built up towards the Chiefs. I like the Bills at home. Bengals and Chargers, Sunday night football. Bengals need this game. Jamar Chase is looking like Himothy, so keep playing him. All right, Chase Brown's probably going to struggle against this run defense. But look for Joe Burrow to do his thing and lead them to a victory. The Chargers are the slight favorite in this game. I'm taking the Bengals. Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, everybody's in play. The wide receivers for sure. Quinshon Johnston, Joshua Palmer, Ladd McConkey. These guys are the guys you really want on the field. On your fantasy football team. You want them on your roster. If you can't get them there, and that's that. Texans and Cowboys, Monday Night Football. We already know how that's going to go. The Texans should have a great bounce-back game this week against them. They should really get their season rolling. Look out for Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith has been a quiet assassin for the Dolphins. Tim Patrick, this is another guy that's been a silent assassin. And overall, let's get it. It's fantasy football, folks. We've got to lock in. We've got to lock in. I'll be dropping more tidbits on the Instagram, more picks for betting and all that stuff on the Instagram. Rapid fire real quick. Week 11, NFL, rapid fire. Give me the Eagles. Give me the Packers. Give me the Lions, Vikings, Dolphins, Rams, Browns, Jets, Steelers, Falcons, 49ers, Bills, Bengals, Texans. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Tell a friend to get on the ship so we can all be on the ship that doesn't sink, the friendship. And thank you for subscribing. And once again, I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, a review. Peace. Thanks for listening.